Hello, Virgo. There are some things that cannot be fixed with words alone, and the universe knows this, which is why what is coming toward you, Virgo, is not simply an apology. An apology is words. An apology is an acknowledgement, often necessary, often appreciated, but ultimately limited to the realm of language. Someone says they are sorry, and the words exist, and you receive them, and life continues with the words now present in the history between you. What is coming toward you is not that. What is coming toward you is action, demonstration, the specific, sustained, behavior level proof of something that words alone could never fully convey. Someone is not just going to tell you they were wrong, they are going to show you in ways that unfold over time and that will leave you with no doubt about their sincerity, exactly how much they understand about what they did, and exactly how committed they are to being different. This reading is going to be emotional. I want to prepare you for that, honestly, before we go any further. Because what came through for you today touched something in me as I received it, and I suspect it is going to touch something in you as you receive it too. So take a breath with me and let us begin. Let me tell you where this energy is coming from, because the source of it matters to understanding the weight of what is approaching. There is someone who hurt you. I do not need to know the specific details to know this with certainty, because the energy of what is coming only makes sense in the context of a hurt that was real and significant and that left a mark. You do not build the kind of restoration that is moving toward you in response to something small. You build it in response to something that mattered enormously, that caused genuine pain, and that the person responsible has spent considerable time understanding the full weight of. This person hurt you, and for a period of time, they did what people often do when they have caused pain they are not yet ready to fully face. They managed it, minimized it, told themselves stories that made the weight of what they did feel lighter than it actually was. Maybe they told themselves it was not that serious. Maybe they told themselves you would get over it. Maybe they simply avoided thinking about it altogether because thinking about it honestly would have required more than they were ready to give. That period is ending. I want to describe what has been happening inside this person because the shift I am feeling is significant, and I think understanding it will help you understand the magnitude of what is coming. There has been a slow erosion of the stories they were telling themselves. Each one, over time, has become harder to maintain. The story that it was not that serious has run up against the reality of how much it actually changed things between you. The story that you would get over it has run up against the reality of distance that has not closed, of a connection that has not returned to what it was, of consequences that have proven to be more lasting than they initially wanted to believe. And underneath all of these eroding stories, something else has been growing, slowly, quietly. The thing that grows in people when they finally stop protecting themselves from the truth of what they did. Understanding, real understanding, not the surface level acknowledgement that produces a quick apology and moves on. The deep, uncomfortable, sometimes overwhelming understanding of exactly what was lost, exactly what was risked, and exactly what kind of person they were being when they made the choices that led to this hurt. This understanding has been arriving in pieces, in moments, often triggered by something small, a memory, a realization, a moment of comparison between what they have now and what they had with you, and the stark difference between the two. Each piece of understanding has added to a growing, undeniable picture, and that picture has reached a point of completeness that this person can no longer simply manage or minimize. Let me speak to what this means in practical terms, because I feel the energy moving towards something specific, and I want to walk you through it with the care it deserves. What is approaching is not a single moment. It is not a text message or a phone call that delivers an apology and then waits to see what happens. What is approaching is a process, a sustained, demonstrated behavior over time process of someone showing you who they have become as a result of everything they have walked through since the hurt occurred. This person has changed. I want to say that clearly because it is important. Not changed in the surface, performative way that sometimes happens when people realize they need to seem different in order to get something they want. Changed in the deeper way, the way that happens when genuine consequence meets genuine reflection and produces something that was not there before. They understand things now that they did not understand then about themselves, about what they value, about the specific cost of the choices they made and the specific quality of what they lost in making them. And this understanding is not abstract. It has shaped how they move through their life now, how they treat the people around them, how they handle the kinds of situations that before might have produced the same patterns that led to hurting you. The person who is going to come toward you is not the person who hurt you, not in the sense of having forgotten or moved past what happened, but in the sense of having been fundamentally shaped by the reckoning with it. They are, in the ways that matter most, someone different now. I want to speak to the specific quality of what they are going to bring, because the title of this reading promises something beyond an apology, and I want to deliver on that promise with real specificity. The first thing they are going to bring is acknowledgement that goes beyond what was said before. If there was a previous apology, and for some of you there was, this is not going to be a repetition of that apology with slightly different words. It is going to be an acknowledgement that has depth to it. That demonstrates an understanding of impact, not just action. That shows they comprehend not just what they did, but what it did to you, to your sense of safety, to your trust, to the way you carried yourself afterward. This kind of acknowledgement is rare. Most people, even people who are genuinely sorry, struggle to articulate the full impact of their actions because doing so requires sitting with an uncomfortable level of detail about the harm they caused. This person has done that sitting, and what they bring forward is going to reflect it. The second thing they are going to bring is patience, a patience that was not present before. Whatever urgency or impatience characterized their behavior in the past, the version of them that is approaching now understands that what they are asking for, your trust, your openness, the possibility of something being rebuilt, is not something that can be rushed or demanded or expected on any timeline other than the one that belongs to you. They are prepared to wait genuinely, without pressure, without the subtle resentment that sometimes accumulates in people who say they will wait but secretly expect to be rewarded for their patience on a schedule of their own choosing. The third thing, and this is the one I feel most strongly, is consistency. Sustained, reliable, does not waver under pressure consistency. The kind that over time becomes its own form of proof, because words can be said in a single moment, but consistency requires showing up the same way again and again in situations both easy and difficult until the pattern itself becomes the evidence. This person is prepared to provide that evidence, not because they expect it to guarantee anything, but because they understand that it is the only honest way to demonstrate the depth of what they now carry. Does this feel like it is connecting to something in your life, Virgo? Someone whose energy has felt different lately, whose presence has carried a different weight, even if you have not yet had the conversation that would confirm what that shift means? Let me know in the comments. I want to know how this is sitting with you. I want to speak now to your heart, Virgo, because everything I have described so far has been about this person and their journey. But this reading is also, and perhaps primarily, about you. You have been hurt. And the hurt did not simply disappear because time passed. It became something you learned to carry, something that shaped how you approached this connection, if it still exists in some form, or how you approached connections in general if this particular one ended. You adjusted, you protected yourself, you built whatever walls or distances or careful habits felt necessary to ensure that this particular kind of pain would not find you again so easily. That adjustment was wise, it was self-preserving, and I want you to know that none of what is coming requires you to dismantle it before you are ready. What is approaching is not asking you to immediately trust again. It is not asking you to act as though the hurt did not happen or to pretend the walls you built were unnecessary. What it is offering is information, evidence, the beginning of a different kind of relationship with this person's behavior, one that you get to observe and evaluate and respond to at whatever pace feels right to you. You are allowed to watch, to take in what is being demonstrated without immediately deciding what it means for the future, to let the proof accumulate before you make any decisions about what you do with it. Your caution is not a betrayal of openness. It is simply wisdom. And wisdom and openness are not opposites. They can exist together in the same heart at the same time. Inhale. I want to speak to the emotional experience of receiving what is coming because I feel it is going to be significant and I want you to be prepared for the fullness of it. When someone who hurt you genuinely reckons with that hurt and brings forward not just words but the demonstrated weight of real change, it does something to the body and the heart that is different from receiving an ordinary apology. Ordinary apologies often produce a kind of muted response, this is nice, but it does not change much feeling. Because the gap between the words and the reality of the person remains on some level unaddressed, what is coming toward you does not have that gap. Or rather, the gap is closing in real time through action in a way that your nervous system is going to register as different from anything you have experienced with this person before. And that registration is going to produce feeling, possibly more feeling than you expect. Tears, perhaps, the kind that come not from sadness exactly, but from the specific, overwhelming experience of something long held finally being met, of a wound that has been carried quietly finally being acknowledged in a way that feels proportionate to its size. Let those feelings come if they come. You do not have to manage them or minimize them or convert them quickly into something more composed. The depth of your response is simply a reflection of the depth of what you carried. And being met at that depth, finally, is something worth feeling fully. I also want to speak to something that might be present in your energy alongside the emotion, a kind of disbelief, this seems too significant to be real quality that might rise as this unfolds. I understand why that disbelief would be present. You have likely encountered in this connection or in others moments where someone said the right things without the follow-through to back them up, where promises of change were made and not kept, where the gap between words and action remained. leaving you to wonder if you had been foolish to hope for anything different. This is different, and I want to say that with the kind of confidence that this reading earned through the clarity with which it came through, the difference is not in what is said, it is in what has already happened internally in this person before they ever approach you. The change is not being performed for your benefit, hoping you will notice and respond favorably. The change has already occurred. What you are going to witness is not someone trying to become different in order to win you back. It is someone who has already become different, who understands that winning you back is not guaranteed and may not even be the primary point, and who is approaching you anyway because the person they have become could not continue without at least trying to make this right. That distinction matters. Change that happens for you is fragile because it depends on your response to sustain itself. Change that has already happened, independent of your response, is durable. It does not require anything from you to remain real. This is the second kind. As I move toward the close of this reading, I want to speak to what this all means for your own healing, regardless of what you ultimately decide to do with what is approaching. Whatever happens next, whatever choice you make about how much space to give this person in this restoration in your life, something significant has already occurred simply in the unfolding of this energy. The wound you have been carrying is being acknowledged, not by you to yourself in the quiet, private way that you have likely been doing for a while, but externally by the person who created it, in a way that confirms beyond any internal debate you might have had with yourself about whether you were overreacting or being too sensitive or asking for too much, that what happened to you mattered, that it was real, that it deserved more than it received at the time. That confirmation is healing in itself, independent of whatever relationship comes after it. It closes a loop that has perhaps been open for longer than you realized. It gives you back something that the original hurt took from you, which is the certainty that your experience of what happened was accurate and valid and worth taking seriously. You do not have to do anything with this confirmation except receive it. Let it be true. Let it settle into the places in you that have been quietly waiting for exactly this kind of acknowledgement. Virgo, I want to close this reading with something simple because I feel the complexity of everything else that has been said, and I want to leave you with something that is not complex at all. You are worth this. Whatever is coming, whatever form it takes, whatever depth of change and demonstration and patience it carries, you are worth all of it. Not because of anything you need to prove or earn or justify, simply because of who you are and what you have carried and how you have carried it. The hurt was real, the healing is real, and what is approaching, this thing that goes so far beyond a simple apology that the word itself feels inadequate to describe it, is real too. Let yourself receive it at your own pace, in your own way, with whatever combination of openness and caution feels true to where you actually are. And know that whatever you decide, whatever this becomes or does not become, the fact that this much has shifted, that this much understanding has been reached, that this much change has occurred, all of it exists now. It is part of the story, and it changes the story in ways that matter, regardless of what chapter comes next. If this reading touched something deep in you today, please share it with a Virgo who needs to feel this energy, and leave me a comment below. Tell me how this landed. Tell me what this reading brought up for you. I know this one was heavy, and I want you to know that whatever you are feeling right now is valid and welcome here. I read every single word you share. Every story matters. Every comment carries weight with me long after this video ends. Until next time, Virgo, be gentle with your heart today. It has carried so much, and it is so close to being met with everything it deserves.